On this episode of Cloud AI Adventures, I've invited Megan Risdal to join me on the show. Together, we'll cook up our own data science project on Kaggle. How are you doing today, Megan?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
Awesome. And before we get going, I wanted to let you have a chance to talk a little bit about what you do at Kaggle and your role.
Sure. So I'm the product lead for datasets at Kaggle. And what that means is that I work with our engineers, our designers, as well as our community to build tools that help data scientists find, share, and analyze data. And today, what we want is for Kaggle to be the best place for our 1.7 million data scientists to share and collaborate on data science projects.
Awesome. And so today we'll be working together to use the freshest ingredients.
Data.
And prepare them using different tools and work together to come up with our delicious outcome. This public data set and notebook that we can share with the world that has cool analysis to go with it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I'm excited today because we're going to really make this a collaborative project. So that's how we're going to get things done, is together, teamwork.
Teamwork. All right, let's go. So Megan, on a previous episode of AI Adventures, I had a video that showed how to get started with Kaggle kernels, and it was pretty rudimentary in terms of just get started, go, it's awesome, it's a free resource. But since then, there's been a couple new features released that really enhance the functionality of Kaggle, both kernels and datasets, to be used as a great tool for individuals and teams.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So today, Kaggle is a really great place for people who use R and Python to work with data that are looking really to build data science portfolios, do data analysis work, or even share research. It takes a lot of tools to do data science, and Kaggle really acts as this one-stop shop that provides all these tools that makes this possible, from working with data privately to sharing it with the world.
And that really, it's really fantastic. Let's explore a little bit more about the fact that Kaggle datasets and kernels can support this kind of collaborative model, this private mode, if you will.
So, some of recent features are ability to publish and work with private datasets and kernels. And speaking of kernels, this is basically like a laptop in the cloud.
Right.
It's more powerful than the laptop that I'm working with here today. You've got 16 gigs of RAM, 4 CPUs, 6 hours of compute. And one of the really exciting things is that it is all in a Docker container that has all of these packages that data scientists love pre-installed. So you've got this environment, this one-click environment. And then finally, we're starting to add on more customizations. So if there's any packages missing, I can install those, or even do things like add a GPU.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Very nice. We've picked out a particular data set today to play with around kind of data from the city of Los Angeles, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, that's right. So a lot of governments and organizations from around the world and in the United States are making open data available as part of their open data initiatives to make their work more transparent. So I'm from Los Angeles, or I live in Los Angeles, and I was kind of interested in taking a look at some of the open data that the city of Los Angeles makes available. So I was poking around on their open data portal, and this one caught my eye because I'm a little bit of a foodie. It's a little interesting, but it's actually an environmental health code violations from restaurants and markets in Los Angeles.
Okay. All right, let's get into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I've done is I downloaded the data set. So it's on my local machine right now.
Great.
And what we're going to do is upload it to Kaggle. This is going to be the foundation of our project.
Awesome. And one of the things that a lot of times, I hear about is, some people are concerned around distributed computing and massive data sets. And you just mentioned you downloaded this data set to your local machine. And some folks say, I need lots of compute and resources. Is Kaggle going to be powerful enough to support my use case? And looking at Kaggle and just the vibrant community you mentioned, was it 1.7 million?
Yep, that's where we're at today.
It's amazing. It clearly shows that there are so many use cases beyond the massive data sets out there. There's the situations where you can get away with just one kind of powerful machine that can take you quite far.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, and people are uploading thousands of data sets per month.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go over to your laptop and see how we go about doing that. How do we make a new data set on Kaggle?
Sure. So we're going to start from the datasets page on Kaggle's website. So this is what it looks like, and basically this is where you have access to all of the datasets that have been publicly published on Kaggle, and we're going to add our own today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click New Dataset, and then from here it's just a matter of dragging and dropping the files that I've chosen to upload, and these are inspections of restaurants and markets in Los Angeles, and then violations. And then we're going to add a little bit of metadata to get the data set started.
Okay.
So I'm just going to grab all of the information I need here.
Okay.
So we're going to keep it private because, like we talked about, we want to sort of prepare the data set so that it's well documented, and then we're also going to play around with the data a little bit and create some kernels before we share it publicly.
Yeah, awesome. And that's definitely something that folks, I think, doesn't get talked about as much is documentation for data sets.
Yep, that's right.
Documentation from code is very well understood, and people hammer that home. But documentation about data sets is kind of a new concept.
Right. Yeah, it's really about making data accessible. It's not just making the data files itself machine readable. So having well formatted CSVs, but also helping anybody who's interested in working with this data really understand it. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on Create Dataset.
Fantastic. All right. And your private dataset was successfully created.
Yay!
Woo.
Cool. So now the private dataset was uploaded, and like it tells us here, now we can do anything from starting to analyze the dataset already to adding collaborators, and we're going to do both of those things.
Fantastic.
So we'll click Confirm, and it's going to take us to our dataset.
Looking good.
Yeah.
It's like a real thing.
Yeah, that's right. So what we want to do when people create a private data set is make it easy for them to then make that data set public eventually and share it with the community. So we provide this quality checklist that helps people basically document their data set and help them be successful when they share it. So we're just going to quickly go through this quality checklist. So the first is providing a description. And this is just a markdown file, so I have it saved here.
Great. Yeah, I mean, that's really nice that there's like this, some guidance on what sorts of things to add in to make a data set nice.
Yep, yeah, that's
make
right.
for a good experience.
Yeah, so we think that things like understanding the context of the data and why it's interesting and why you're sharing it is important, as well as providing more details about the contents of the data set. So that's what we've done here. And then also, inspiration. So some questions that you can use the data to answer.
Right. Yeah. I've seen that in some of the other data sets out there, and now I know kind of why that shows up. It's just, there's some guidance there.
That's
great.
right. Yeah. So then the next thing on this page is we're going to add just a couple of tags, and this helps make the data set more discoverable once we're ready to share it publicly.
Right.
So we'll do public health and food and drink.
Okay. Seems reasonable.
Seems reasonable. So then we're going to add a subtitle and a banner image. And this is just to sort of add that final coat of paint to make it look good and, again, help people understand what the data set is about.
Yeah, a little flair.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So we'll save that.
And we want them to replace this image.
Yep. So this is what people will see in the dataset listing. And, you're not supposed to judge a dataset by its cover, but, if it has a flashy image, that can only help.
Yes. I always pick datasets that have an image of a sliced onion over ones that don't.
That's right. Looks delicious. And then finally, the most important part is I'm going to add you as my collaborator on this dataset.
So now I get to see it.
Yep.
Okay. So eventually...
There you are. I will grant you edit access.
Well, thank you. Megan Risdal invited you to edit the dataset. Great. And so I can click View on Kaggle.
Yep.
And let's see what that looks like. Awesome. So this looks basically the same as it looks on your side.
Yeah, that's right. Cool. So we have uploaded our data, we've documented it, and I've shared it with you. One of the things that we like to encourage people to do is to also document their data sets through code. So what I mean by that is publishing a kernel on a data set is one way to demonstrate to users and other people in the community what they can do with your data. So we might want to show somebody in a kernel how they can read in the data, some of the things that we can visualize using the data, questions that can be answered using it.
Yeah, I mean, when I see data sets on Kaggle these days, they all have these like exploration notebooks with fancy visualizations, and it's really nice.
Yeah, exactly. And when you start working with a new data set, usually when you're working locally, you're starting from a blinking cursor. You don't have any code that shows you how to read in the data and how to work with it. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to additionally document our data set by publishing a kernel on it. So
Fantastic.
let's get started. I'm just going to click on this big blue button, as we call it, new kernel.
Yes.
So here we have a choice between a script and a notebook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with notebooks because I
Okay.
like interleaving markdown and code. And then while this starts up, I can see that I have the data accessible right here at my fingertips in my environment.
Great.
And I'm going to change the language to R. I am an R stats person, that's right.
All right.
Cool. So what I've done is I cheated and I already prepared the code that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to quickly upload it here. And then I'm going to walk you through what I've done to analyze the data set.
Great.
So in the first cell, we have the inspections CSV file and the violations CSV file. So I'm going to go ahead and read those in, join them together by serial number, and then take a glimpse at the resulting data frame.
Okay.
So once that's done, you can see that we have almost 900,000 records that we're
Wow.
looking at. So
Yeah.
these are all health code violations for about 2 years of data.
Okay. It's a lot for 2 years.
It seems like it. So we're going to dig into what that looks like. So what I want to do now that I've got the data set kind of prepared in the shape I want it is look at the number of violations reported over time by month.
Right. This is the big one.
Yep, exactly. All right.
All right.
So you can see how quick and snappy that is. And we've got this visualization. It's cool right in front of us. So that's a lot of health code violations.
Yeah, it's all over the place. What is that like? What is that bar? 30,000
Yeah, that's right.
in a month?
Yes. Yep.
That's a doozy.
Yep. So let's take a look and see if there's any kind of like seasonal trends. And we also have information about what the violations were for each serial number.
Okay.
So we'll take a look at that. And we're going to look at just the top 10 violations. So that's what this code is going to be doing here.
Mm-hmm. So we run that, and now we're going to get, wow, very nice color
Yeah.
coding here. Yeah. Is that the darker one is more, or the lighter ones are more?
The lighter ones are more.
Okay.
Yep, so you can see this one here is a violation of the code for floors, walls, and ceilings are properly built, maintained, and good repair and clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always comforting to know that your establishment is in good repair.
Yep, that's right. Yep, and then finally, I'm going to just save another project for later that I have in mind is I want to look at the violations by zip code. So we've also got information for each of the facilities, what their address is. So we can look at, whether or not there's more violations by zip code and kind of look at, a geospatial analysis. But I want to do that a little bit later. So I'm just going to write out that CSV to a file, and I'll be able to use that in another kernel.
Right. And you can imagine I'm just trying to think about like this new output that you've created. You could make some kind of mapping with it. You could do one of those fancy color-coded heat maps.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we have this sort of heat maps which shows the violations by type, but you could also show.
Yeah, like a
geographically.
chloropleth map, geospatial.
There's a tongue twister.
Yeah, chloropleth. Yeah, exactly. And you can see now how taking just a peek at this data set has already inspired new questions. And that's exactly what we want to do for our users. So I'm going to go ahead and give my notebook a title.
Yes, always good to have a title.
Yep. And then I'm going to hit commit and run.
Okay, so let's hit that. And while that's running, a question for you. Does the notebook not save if you haven't clicked commit and run? Like if you were to close that tab before you click that, what would happen to all that code, all that work?
So it's saving a draft.
Okay.
But if you want to save your code and come back to it later and share it with other people, you want to hit commit and run. And what that does is it executes the code from top to bottom.
Right. Perfect. And so once that's done, I guess what is our next step? What's our plan here? Because right now we have a data set that's private but shared between us. And we have this kernel, which I think is still just private to you, right?
Yep. Yeah. So once this is finished, I'm going to go ahead and click View Snapshot. And this is going to take us to the notebook viewer. And from here, this is what I'll be sharing with the world. And this is what somebody looking at the data set can come and find. So I'm going to go ahead and, again, share this with you, just to make sure that you think that all of our work is ready to be made public.
Right, yeah. So in a team environment, you could do this to essentially do some sort of code review scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So once you've done that, I can go over here on my laptop and in the data set, click kernels and go to your work, which I guess in this case is your work.
Right.
And we'll open up your notebook here. And we can see that it loads nicely. And I have the option to either edit or to fork the notebook.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and fork it and just make sure that everything runs as expected. You can get everything to compile.
Cool. So when I fork it, is that then similar to when you fork a repo on GitHub?
Right.
Where you make your own copy. Now this is like really mine.
Yep, this is your copy of not just the code, but also the data that I used and the environment that I used.
Okay, gotcha. And so anything you now make changes to on your side won't affect my copy.
Correct.
Oh, okay. So now I'm running it, and this will generate a different kernel. Do I need to change the name? Will there be kind of a name collision there if I leave it the same?
You don't need to change it. The slug that gets used is your username, and then the slug of the notebook title.
Gotcha. Okay. So I could change it, but I don't have to.
Right.
So now if I go back to, we can watch it do its thing. And I could share my fork with other folks.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. And we can see our data. And if I click back now, I guess it should be, once it finishes, it'll just show up.
There it is.
And there it is. All right.
Awesome. So what do you think?
It's pretty good. Pretty good. I guess it's time to make this thing public for real.
Yeah, let's go public.
All right.
Cool. So I'm going to go back to the data set. And then I go to Settings, Sharing, and if we think we're ready, we can click Make Public.
All right, let's do it. So this is a Make Public Permanently.
That's right.
Great. So it's always good to know what you're getting into here. Nice.
And there we go. And then the next step is, of course, we want to make the kernel public.
Oh, right, because the kernel itself is separate from the data set. And so
Yep.
those two concepts are distinct. Great.
Yep, that's right.
And so in this situation, it could be one where you wrote some stuff and then you make yours public, but then I fork it and it's private and I can extend it privately with you or with other folks.
Yep.
And then release another version perhaps with some different analysis.
Yeah, exactly. So that flexibility is up to you.
Awesome.
Yep. So now our data set is public, and anybody from our community of data scientists can go ahead and explore more about restaurant inspections and violations in Los Angeles County.
That's right. That's right. And zooming out and looking at what we've covered today, it's quite a bit. And the tools are all kind of packaged in this really nice seamless platform. I've really enjoyed kind of going through, and we made a notebook and data set on your side. We were able to share it across privately and then publicly. And we didn't even get into things like the commenting system and the discussion forums, and there's so much more to Kaggle. But even this environment of collaboration and sharing is so rich.
Yeah, so we really did create a project from start to finish.
Yeah.
We got data files off of my local machine and into this reproducible, documented data set that's now publicly shared with the world.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see how somebody could do this for a school project or as a way to share research.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so this notebook is really public. So if you're watching this video, you can go on Kaggle right now and access this data set. We'll include links to the notebooks in the description below the video, and share it, and then you'll be able to see the notebook, the data set, and post comments, fork your own notebook, make edits. Thanks so much for joining me today, Megan, on the show. It's been really fun putting together this Kaggle kernel, making this data set, and making it public to the world. If you've liked this video, be sure to hit the like button down below and click subscribe to get all the episodes of Cloud AI Adventures right when they come out. For now, me and Megan, we're going to go back to working on this kernel, but this time, maybe I can convince her to do it in Python.
We'll see about that.
All right.